moving forward, there have been some really quite incredible reactions to all of this, and across, both sides of the aisle, but we've been focusing on some of the particularly noteworthy Republican responses to Biden's Afghan evacuation, which have been particularly unhinged. Let's hear from Lindsey Graham, who believes that because of this ending of a 20-year war, Biden should be impeached.
If we leave one American behind, if we don't get all those Afghans who stepped up to the plate to help us out, then Joe Biden, in my view, has committed a high crime and misdemeanor under the Constitution and should be impeached.
So not the people who lied us into war, not the people who lied repeatedly to the American people to convince them that this war was going well and we're making progress and the surge is working, not the commander-in-chiefs who claimed and promised the American people they were going to get out and never got around to doing it. He wants to impeach Joe Biden, who actually finally did the thing that he promised and that everybody wanted him to do.
Yeah, where's Lindsey on George W. Bush? Oh, wait, he said George W. Bush shouldn't be impeached. Oh, Donald Trump. And look, this is what drives me crazy. We were actually consistent voices on impeachment, on the Ukraine impeachment especially. We were like, look, this is BS, okay? I'm sorry. Yeah. Yes, nobody's going to say that it was the perfect phone call or whatever. As I said, the part of that call that bothered me the most is when the Ukrainian president bragged about staying in Trump Tower, not exactly whenever it came to, the so-called leveraging of military aid, etc. But the same people who argued that impeachment should be this, lofty thing, and I actually defended it at the time, are now like the implementation of the withdrawal from Afghanistan is grounds for impeachment. It's just totally ludicrous. And we've pulled a couple of very good examples here from what exactly the actual interest of some of these people is in making sure that this war continues, which makes me just seem, maybe this isn't just about, how they supposedly care for the poor Afghans. Check this example out. Lee Fong of The Intercept points it out. Congressman Mike Waltz, who wants the U.S. military to relaunch the Afghan war, just sold an Afghan-focused defense contractor for a personal profit of up to $26 million. And the deal was with a contractor responsible for training the failed Afghan National Security Forces. Now, I'm not saying that is the case whenever it comes to Lindsey Graham. I've actually met Lindsey Graham. He is a legitimate ideologue whenever it comes to the forever war, a true neocon in his heart, which I guess he's principled. I don't know exactly what to say about that. But I understand from where he's speaking. And yet, after the Trump years, it's beclowning yourself in order to try and point out that Joe Biden should be impeached for this, whenever clearly you set a standard that the impeachment bar should be so high. Now, my personal favorite example of the cringe here goes to the president's son, Don Jr. Our friend Richard Hanania pointed this out. Let's go ahead and put this up there on the screen. So Don Jr. tweets about how, and I'll get to this in my monologue, Tony Blair slamming Biden as an imbecilic threat. He says, quote, "When America's greatest ally abroad, Great Britain, is so humiliated and dishonored that they held Joe Biden in contempt in Parliament for the lack of respect and communication, even lefties agree, you start to see how incompetently this went down." As Richard says, after trust our generals in the media and think of the Afghan women faces of conservatism, we have moved on to think of our transatlantic alliances.
Indeed.
Now,
has he added, Saagar, just give us an update. Has he added the globe emoji to his Twitter bio, Don Jr.? Yeah.
I mean, what the hell is going on here? I seem to recall a time whenever Donald Trump went to Britain and everybody said, screw the British, we don't care what they think. And they had some stupid ass blimp. And then remember that idiot, the London mayor, Sadiq Khan, or whatever his name was. It was like, oh my God. And everybody said, who cares what the London mayor? Well, what about now? Now we're what? We're British transatlantic bowing down before, America's greatest ally and all that. Look, I like Britain. They want to hold our president in contempt. I don't really care what they have to say whenever it comes to this. And Tony Blair himself.
They have a lot of nerve.
They have a lot of nerve, actually, for doing this. But really what it is the absolute flip-flop that so many of these people have made. Let me just give you one example. I'm sorry to take up some of this time. Don Jr. yesterday was tweeting about how the White House is putting out falsified readouts or incomplete readouts of Americans' calls because we didn't include this thing in our readout of our call where the French president Emmanuel Macron suggested that we should, emphasize alliances or something like that. The Trump White House literally suspended all readouts of phone calls. Why? Because they didn't want to put out the information and get into the exact scenario of leaving some stuff out and not. So they just suspended all. Now, I happen to know that because I was a White House correspondent, but I just want to say to these people, shut the hell up. You have no idea what you're talking about. You're embarrassing yourself at the altar of rank partisanship and just showing us all you have no principles whenever it comes to actually ending war.
Yeah. And even Lindsey Graham, who you're right, is a true believer neocon. Unreconstructed, never saw a war he didn't love, right? So I guess at least he's principled.
Props.
But yeah. I don't recall him floating impeachment for Donald Trump meeting with the Taliban at Camp David to broker a peace treaty. Now, look, that's an action that you and I both support because we're consistent here, okay? But if you were going to, get hysterical about something, that seems like a pretty good candidate. And he may have been critical at the time, but he definitely was not calling for impeachment over brokering a peace deal with the Taliban at Camp David. So all of these people, it's really been quite revealing because you also had a lot of people in the media who sort of feign war weariness over the years. But then the second that they have a chance to advocate for us being there forever, they'll take whatever opportunity that they can to push for continuing the forever war. And as you put it, don't be fooled by they're trying to create this middle ground of we still want to get out, but just not like this. No, there's two positions here. You either want to get out and you accept that this is never going to be perfect. You're never going to have the conditions met. It's never going to be sunshine and rainbows when you end a 20-year failed imperialist project and the state collapses. That's not on the menu, okay? So put that out of your mind. You either want to get out and cope with the messiness that entails, or you want to stay. And what we have seen from all of these partisan hacks, and again, plenty of Democrats too, by the way, who are saying they want to investigate Joe Biden over this. Give me a break. But all of these partisan hacks, and every corner of the media that is carrying water for the military-industrial complex, you now know what their true colors really are in all of this.
Yeah, and I want to say this too. At least we're honest here. We're looking at the scenes of the Kabul airport and saying, you know what? As terrible as it is, it's worth it. Let's make these people tell us that it's okay that 22-year-olds get blown to bits by suicide bombs for a corrupt government and for an endless mission. Why don't they defend that? Why didn't they have to sit in the media and come and defend the 20 years of failed war, the thousands of Americans who are dead, tens of thousands who are wounded, who the goddamn hell knows how many Afghans who have been killed in this war, how much money that we wasted over there. Why don't they go ahead and defend that? They won't. They'll point to implementation measures. They'll point to this. I've got 20 years of receipts, Krystal, on implementation failures of the Afghan war. How about they come? They can sit on this show. We will go through every failed measure of the campaign. And you can tell me which one was worse. I know exactly which one was worse. Make them be honest. The dishonesty in this conversation is really what is driving me the most crazy of all.
Hey guys, thanks so much for watching.
That's right. Just as a reminder, you can become a premium subscriber today. Watch the full show completely uncut. Our reactions to each other's monologues. You get to listen to it. You get to ask us questions. All that good stuff. Link is right there in the description or at breakingpoints.com.
Best of all, great way to say screw you to the mainstream media.